Hello, my friends. It is pizza time to start this stream. I greet you with my. Hold on. Forgot to plug the mic in. It was all opening, but YouTube screwed everything up for me. My autumnal spread for this evening. Because I decided that it's autumn now. I don't really know when autumn actually starts. I feel like it starts whenever it feels like autumn, which is today, because it's raining outside and it's cold. I'm wearing the ceremonial flannel. I have donned the flannel. It has begun, and it feels so soft and so comforting. It makes me so happy. And let's just fix this because I can't see anything that's happening. It's not quite tall enough, but as soon as I get my food prepared here, I'll join you properly. 2 a.m. That sounds like prime pizza hour for a Saturday night. This tripod is not tall enough. That's one of the things I miss most about my urban life was that late night pizza grab. There's a place in Seattle called Big Mario's, which was my go-to. It was like my official closing ceremonies of a hard night out. So pretty much only ever ate there when I was pretty drunk, and really really good, like thin crust New York style pizza, and yeah, and it always kind of meant like a successful evening had happened if I made it to that hour and I was like still going strong, and the pizza kind of like closed it off and made it official. So hello everybody, Cheryl and Kaylin and etc. Thanks. My forever home likes the flannel. Appreciate it. I was telling them earlier, this is kind of. I haven't actually switched my wardrobe over yet. I've still got my summer wardrobe there. It's time to throw it all in a garbage sack and take it to the storage unit and swap it out for my garbage sack full of winter clothes. But it's been like a little ambiguous lately, so I haven't quite wanted to take the plunge. Today is definitely a fall day, and but it could surprise me again. So in spirit of that, it's definitely not margarita weather anymore. So I decided I'm gonna make up a little fall cocktail with a classic. There's no like legitimate local cider out yet. The apples are just starting to come out, but I haven't seen any cider. Otherwise, I'd go for the real deal because I'm a big cider fiend. But this stuff, as far as like processed store-bought stuff, is actually pretty damn good. So I thought, why not make like an actual cocktail this time? Because I happen to have a lot of good ingredients for like warm and cozy beverages. I've got the apple cider here. I've got some vodka back here, I think. Oh shit, there's not much left. When did that happen? I think there's enough to get us through the night anyway. It's really time for whiskey. It's whiskey season. Look at all the dust on this bottle. This is how bleak my nightlife has been out here. This is like really the only time that I use this stuff is when I'm drink streaming. Otherwise, it's like, why am I going to drink at home alone? So, yeah, I'm going to open that away from my pizza. Is that enough to get us through the stream? We'll see. So, let's see. I'm going to have to make several of these because it's a very shallow glass. I don't even think this is the capacity of a martini. But let's see. That will be our spirit. Cheers. I'll just use this as a little mixer. And then I have this little selection of bitters here, which I used with my soda stream to make like kind of cocktail-ish sparkling waters. I love this plan because it gives you like a lot of the flavor complexity of a cocktail, but it's just water. There's not really even any appreciable sugar content. It's just flavors of whatever bitters even is. It's a kind of a fermented kind of thing of some sort. So I'm gonna put a little molasses and a little black walnut in my cocktail. I think that is the perfect apple seasonal beverage. But yeah, a couple drops of this stuff in a sparkling water becomes a delicious drink. This is what I chug on all day. Is I have these soda stream bottles and I just put a couple drops of bitters in there and suddenly poof, the whole thing is delicious. So I swear I'm not like fishing for sponsorships when I talk about the stuff I like. I just like sharing ideas that I enjoy. So you just a couple drops and drops of this one. Cheers. That's pretty damn good. A little sweet, a little heavy on the vodka, perhaps, but maybe a little more black walnut. Okay, now that I have a drink in hand, although that's just like 3 sips, really, I'm gonna have to come back a few times. I'll just pat it out. It's tough to balance this stuff in such small glasses. But I see at least one person is cheersing with me, so cheers. Yeah, Cindy. I've been hearing about people like talking about the heat still, and it's I guess it's just very hyper regional because here it has still been kind of hot here and there for a couple days, but there's that very noticeable shift, when like you just wake up one day and it's like a wheel has turned and suddenly it's just overnight it's a different season, and it takes some time to build into it, but you can definitely feel when you're surrounded by nothing but nature. There's no buffer of buildings and streetlights and all this stuff that kind of makes you not notice the season. You really notice those little shifts, and I felt it maybe like 4 days ago, something like that. I just woke up one day and I was like, oh, everything's different. And all at once, I'm not sweaty anymore. There's just like a feeling in the air. The bugs, the animals of all kinds kind of get quieter. Everything hushes down. And it's like, I think we're done with this, this party of the summer orgy for the animals. So cheers to them finishing their business and moving on with wherever they go now. To the grave, some of them, I hope. Okay, how am I gonna eat this? I'm gonna take this off the tripod and see if I can maneuver. We're going live. We're going mobile. There we go. Yeah, it's too hard to. I can't see anything from that far away. Missing all your chats. So yeah, I get pretty excited about this seasonal shift. I'm not really a big summer guy. I make the best of it. I'm learning to enjoy it more uh, since I've come out here because it's just like I've got the clothes for it now. I've got like the loose linens and cool hot weather, billowy stuff, and I just it's an environment that I can kind of get into it better, but it's challenging because it's just it the actual temperature is difficult for obvious reasons because it's easier to get warm than it is to get cool. Like if I'm too cold, I put on a flannel. If I'm too hot, shit out of luck. There's nothing you can do about it. So as far as comfort levels, cold weather is always more comfortable to me because you can just dial it in exactly where you want it. Where the amount of layers that you need to get warm. Whereas hot weather, it's like a struggle. It's like, how do I maintain equilibrium when nature is trying to broil me from the inside out? There's no air conditioned clothing, unfortunately. So there's that. But the bigger factor for me is just the noise level. I feel like summer is very noisy. Summer is like, especially in Washington, everybody tries to do everything in like 3 months. They don't do anything all year. And then from like July through August, suddenly it's just all the parties, all the beaches, all the campouts, all the stuff happens all at once, all the vacations. And it's just too much all at once. And it's exhausting. And in this lifestyle, I don't participate much in that. Obviously, it's kind of like why I moved out here, was to escape those parties. But I still kind of feel it. I get the FOMO, and I feel like I should be out doing more stuff. And whether I do or not, it's still kind of a irritant to me. And so fall, I love the feeling of everything kind of just like going quiet and closing up. And it's like, okay, now I'm released. I'm released to do what I want to do without thinking about like the rest of the world. So it's kind of like a freedom, especially with as many mentally focused tasks that I have, hobbies and projects and things that involve in the inside life, indoors and inside the head. It's kind of like my natural environment, and summer is kind of a stretch for me. So I really want to eat this pizza, and I can't stop talking. So I've noticed Freshetta pizza seems to be going out. I hardly ever see it in stores anymore. If they do have any, it's like one flavor. They've gotten rid of the brick oven stuff, all the varieties of Freshetta. And it's like just another classic example of products like it's over and over and over again. I find a product that I really like and it's like, this is perfect. This is what this product should be. And the moment I discover it, it gets discontinued or it gets, overwhelmed and pushed out of stores by another inferior product, which in this case is DiGiorno frozen pizza. Classic case of style over substance. DiGiorno is, I can't imagine an argument how you could say it's better. It's like the way they do their crust is so substandard. But they had that ad campaign that does not deliver its DiGiorno. So everybody thinks of that when they think of frozen pizza. And Freshetta didn't pull it off. They didn't have the ads. And so like they get kicked to the background. It's the same with like all the double movies that came out, like Armageddon and Deep Impact and all the things where there was like two of one idea at the same time. Almost every time it's the inferior, dumber one that becomes popular, and the one that actually had some quality gets ignored. Just classic. Bob is very annoyed today. Who said that? Cheryl. Bob is right there. stealing my chair as he loves to do. Say hi, Bob. Um, he blames me for the weather. So whenever it gets cold or rainy, he just like stares at me and demands an explanation, and I have none for him. So he's been kind of mopey today. Jane, that's nice of you to say. It's actually quite a bit less tidy. If you look closer, nothing is sorted. It's just piles upon piles. But actually, that area back there, I spent last weekend working on getting my station set up here. Had a couple big advancements here where I put in this power strip on the wall, which allows me to. I'm like fighting for every centimeter in this place. Um, I have all of my cords are inside that. I don't know if you can see it. I can't see what you see when I aim it at this stuff, but there's a little box back there that all the cords and power adapters are stuffed into, and it kind of keeps them from tangling everything because I have this constant issue with every stray cord just finds its way underneath my chair wheels over and over again. And I'm trying to set up this double screen situation because one of my friends and patrons gave me this gaming PC recently and this extra monitor. And I've been wanting to get a game system of some kind for a long time. I'm not like a heavy gamer, but I do enjoy it as a media entertainment source. And I haven't had any kind of gaming system out here really for the whole time, and I'm craving that escape once in a while. And so I have this gear now, and but it's really difficult to make it work on this desk. It looks like a big desk, but I've been really struggling to make the two screens thing work because I have to shuffle back and forth to the different sides of the desk to get properly in front of it. And so I've had to do all sorts of weird creative stuff over here to try to make more room on the desk because I also have to accommodate my space heater, which you can see right there, and make room from that, from the cores and all this stuff. And it's confusing. And right now I have the computer is broken. That's why she gave it to me. It's missing some parts, which I have to figure out what it's missing and replace those parts. And hopefully, I'm going to my nephew's house. Oh, is something wrong with the stream? Hold on. Is everybody having problems here, or is it just you? Okay, well, I'll continue on then. Um, but yeah, I'm using the screen right now as just a second display for my video editing, which is actually really helpful because a lot of my videos involve just sort of browsing through my whole photo library and finding clips that I took that are appropriate for the spot in the video. And so having this extra screen allows me to just have my photos library up on the screen, and I can easily swap back and forth, which is really a game changer. As you can see here, Bob has already done a number on this workstation. He went outside in the mud today and tracked muddy footprints all over my mouse pad, and then shook like a dog and sprayed muddy water all over this monitor. This guy has no remorse. So that's one of the current projects. Now that most of my real projects are done, at least my physical projects, a writing sprint stream? Tell me more about that. What would that be? Wow, Tanya's tuning in early, 5:48 a.m. in India. That's about when I woke up today. I'm trying to sleep in later because as winter comes, it's really not cool to be waking up that early because it's still dark for a long time. But I have to shift my sleep schedule somehow, and it hasn't been working out so well. Last night, I didn't sleep so great because I was troubled by strange dreams and portents. I I don't share my dream stories very often because it's usually just very nonsensical and not interesting. But I thought this one was pretty funny after I woke up. I dreamed that I had my leg amputated, and for some reason the doctors needed a tissue sample from the leg. So they asked me to like go, what'd you do with your leg? We need it back. We need to take a tissue sample. And I realized like, what did I do with my leg? I can't remember where I put it. And eventually I remembered that I was wearing rain boots, such as these very boots, when I got it amputated. And then I donated the rain boots to a thrift store with my amputated leg still inside there. So I had to go back to the thrift store and like try to explain to them that I needed the boots back, and because it was probably rotting in there by now. And there was this whole awkward scene with the thrift store, and then I woke up at 5:40. So strange nights. Yeah, Future Tense saw that already got the early access to my dreams on the Patreon Discord. One of the most important perks of being a patron of a member of my Patreon is access to my insane ramblings on Discord. But you can still get them here eventually. Yeah, that was pretty nice of me. I donated a boot and a leg. So whoever bought that boot would get bonus meat. Who doesn't love bonus meat, right? Yeah, I don't have any tats on my legs yet, actually. I've been thinking about getting one on my calf, and I think I might do that sigil that I posted about today, the one that my friend designed for me. I'm using it as the Outer Edge Outpost logo, but it's not. But that's secondary. More like, yeah, the image itself has personal meaning to me that is not about this YouTube channel. I'm just using it as well. Yeah, Jane. The tiers are quite a bit more inclusive now, I would say. Um, I opened it up a lot to where even like the $2 tier now gets most of the stuff. I don't think that except like the music for the YouTube channel. But like the $2 tier used to not get anything, and now they get all the posts, all the text posts. And then the $5 tier, which used to be kind of the bare minimum, gets the music and a bunch of other stuff too. So it's a lot more generous now. Honestly, I would love to kind of do away with the tiers. There's too many, and but I just like there's still people in some of the more expensive ones. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna delete it now because then I would lose their pledge. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday if it all kind of crashes, I'll reconfigure. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of leave it alone. Um, they just introduced a feature today that allows me to sort of batch edit all the past archived posts, so I can now open up access to the hundreds of posts and materials of all kinds that used to be locked to the higher tiers, which are now technically open to the lower tiers, but I just didn't used to have any way to unlock them all simultaneously. But they just introduced that feature like right on cue. So I'm gonna do that soon, and then the low level tiers will have access to all that stuff, which is a lot of it's just sort of my my ramblings, but there's like some legitimate content in there if you're into warm bodies. Um, lots of you know, deleted scenes and behind the scenes and uh, secret stories and alternate covers and all sorts of stuff like that. So that stuff I feel legitimate about selling. Some of my content I'm like, well, if you're into that, I guess. Such as this live stream, for example. I can't justify doing a live stream where I just hang out and ramble and eat pizza and drink. But I did the first one, and a bunch of you guys were like, you should do this every time, every weekend. And I thought, well, you don't have to tell me twice, you know? It's a good excuse to enjoy myself, to take a break, to enjoy, you know, have a compelling reason to eat junk food and drink alcohol. I actually thought about it's not tequila tonight, future tense. You must have missed the beginning where I made my apple cider cocktail. Sparkling cider being the main ingredient, and then vodka being the spirit, and then got the black walnut and molasses bitters for flavors. Turned out pretty good. By the way, I feel like there's something very ominous about this rifle in the background. This is very like Chekhov's gun. Every time I turn around, it just kind of swoops into view ominously. That gun's not going to go off, I swear. At least not in this stream. Maybe I'll do a firing stream sometime soon. Yeah, I'm wearing a flannel, future. The ceremonial donning of the flannel. Honestly, it's a little too warm inside. It's perfect for outside. I'm going outside as soon as I get my fill of this pizza. Ah, fellow Eastern Washingtoner. What do you have to say, Earth Angel? Yes, the rain is heavenly. Yeah, best of all, I think, I mean, it rained all day today. I think it actually just finally stopped, but it all day. So, like, the land is saturated. So I think we can probably say goodbye to the wildfire season. At least unless it, stays dry for another 3 weeks to fully dry out again. I'll take a step outside to show you what I mean. It is still raining, but check this out. This is my yard, guys. There's my house. There's my shower. Which, speaking of, last night, I decided to take my first cold weather shower. It was pretty high winds, pretty cold. And, it did its job. It was bearable, but man, it was still a bit of a shock. I kind of had to get in here and like press up against the wall to turn the faucet on and get the water hot, and then while I was showering, it was actually pretty comfortable. Like, it's tall enough that it blocks most of the wind, but it's still fully exposed to the sky, so it's not exactly sheltered. But then when I turned the water off, that was pretty unpleasant. It was like you really feel the wind when you're soaking wet. So I think I'm gonna have to come up with a strategy for this. I'm going to need to get like a burly bathrobe, which I have already in my storage unit. Big, thick bathrobe of terry cloth. And I'll put it on to come out here. I'll hang it on this, take my shower, then just immediately throw the bathrobe on and run screaming like a little girl back into the house and dry off inside, and then cuddle Bob to erase the traumatic memories. You ready for that, Bob? Yeah, God, the non-summer weather here. I mean, every season kind of has its magic out here. Summer has the just the deep blue skies are incredible. But the weather gets more intense in the other seasons, particularly the cloud action. I have to go back out there to show you something that's happening right now. I'm going to take a few bites and a drink, and then I'll move. Okay, watch this. These clouds are moving so quickly. You don't even need a time lapse. Watch this. I'm gonna hold still. It's basically ocean waves in slow motion. I do live above the clouds, Griff. Quite literally. There'll be days in the colder months where this entire valley will be just a blanket of clouds, completely below this ridge, like you're in an airplane, like you're flying across the Atlantic. It looks like that. I have some shots of that in some of my older videos from during the winter. I mean, you can kind of see it happening right over there, actually. That's what fog is clouds that are too low. So this is, down there it's fog, up here it's a cloud. I get lots of snow up here, Cheryl. That's another thing. If you wanna look back in my archives, you can see just how crazy it gets. The first winter I was here, it snowed. It was probably about up to here. It got a good three feet, and it stayed like that pretty much the whole winter. My shed was almost completely buried. I had to dig I had to carve a trail. I didn't have the outhouse at the time. My bathroom was in a bucket down there, and I had to dig a trail through the snow to get to my bucket. That was rough. Oh yeah, take a look at the sigil. My house has a tattoo now. This is, if anybody didn't catch the video today, I posted one this morning explaining what this is all about, and talking, about the larger purpose behind what I'm doing out here, kind of my long-term goals, about what I want to turn this place into, and by extension, what I'm trying to achieve with my art in general. Yeah, the Wi-Fi is kind of I didn't design that. That was my friend Matt, is the one who drew it. I just transferred it onto the wall. But the Wi-Fi signal came from, I told him, he asked, you'll see in the video, but he asked me some questions that kind of gave him the materials to come up with what I wanted to achieve with this place. And I mentioned the idea of like spiritual Wi-Fi, which in reference to like how I'm kind of out here. I'm very separated from everybody. I'm very isolated, but I'm trying to use my creative work as a way to kind of broadcast myself to still connect with people across the distance, which is sort of what I've always done with my art in general, and I'm kind of just doing the same thing with this YouTube channel and kind of like the actual place itself too, because eventually I want to kind of draw people out here, like physically at some point. It's a long way off before anything like that happens, but I have a dream of not like a full on, intentional community kind of thing, but like maybe two other buildings out here. Get, just a very small little group of people to share this land. I think that would be awesome. I've always thought it would be really cool to live near a few close friends, not with them, not like roommates, but to have people like on the general premises, um, and have some kind of communal space in the middle, like a campfire or a gazebo or something that we could all gather in. Because I'm really tired of this like everybody I know being in a different city thing. It's ridiculous. Trying to maintain relationships these days when people just have no regard for that when they make their life decisions. It's all about like work and kids and school and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, bye. Which, granted, I did the same thing, but I did that after many, many years of trying to make it work in a local community, and it just never worked. What's up, Bob? Is it lap time? Nope, just using me as a bridge. Okay. Where are you going? I'm wearing my heavy duty hiking pants right now because I went on a little trek right before the stream, and it's very wet out there. And these are kind of semi waterproof. Chill out, Bob. Feels good to be armored up again after a whole summer of being basically naked. Bob can get his love anytime. He knows it. It's not difficult. I usually track him down for cuddles. I'll give you a mic full of that purr. Can you hear that? Getting a lot of retracted comments in this chat today. Don't be shy, you guys. What? Don't. It's not a big deal. It is pretty personal. Was that Jane that said that? Yeah. Um, it would be. I wouldn't get it on my whole back. That would be overstating things a little bit. But I thought about doing it on the back of my calf. Do my first leg tattoo, but I don't know. Tattoos are kind of low priority right now. I have two saved up ideas that I'm think would be really cool, but it's I realized, I bought some clothes over the summer, um and I'm kind of like still kind of dialing in my setup out here, my outfit, my gear, just like the lifestyle in general. And I bought some stuff that I was really happy about, like some shorts and some shoes. And I realized like I'm not wearing them hardly at all because it just never matters. Like there's nobody ever here. I don't go out, so it's like I just wear the same t-shirts and like shitty baggy basketball shorts every day because it's just like whatever's maximum comfort. That's all that matters. So things like tattoos are kind of they're outward facing, like they're meaningful to me, but they are meant to, I wouldn't get them if there were no humans on the earth, like they're meant to communicate something to someone else. Like it goes both ways, really. It's like it's a message to myself and outward. Otherwise, I'd just keep it stored in my head. I think people who claim that tattoos are not for anyone else are kind of deluded a little bit. Same with fashion. It's like no, it's there's nothing wrong with it being for other people. We're humans. We're part of a human species in a community. We want to communicate things. That's normal. And so yeah, tattoos are like definitely part of that for me. But lately, it's just like who's gonna see it? You know, like it doesn't matter. So I don't know. Until my life becomes a little more active, human wise, I don't know if I'll be spending any more time or money on external signifiers. I guess you guys would see it. So there's that. Yeah, it is kind of too bad. You can't send pictures on the YouTube live chat. I guess I could see that being a problem very quickly, but it would be kind of fun. Um, Bob, I'm not sure how old he is, honestly. I think I have his birthday somewhere in a document, but I always forget. I feel like he's like 4, maybe. Um, he's not old. He's kind of like I feel like he's in his early 30s, maybe his late 20s, human wise. He's definitely like a grown man, but I don't see any signs of aging yet. I don't really know. I guess actual middle age for a cat would be like 8 or something. Yeah, it was around COVID. So yeah, he's probably about 4, roughly. Lots of Bob time in our future. Plenty to come, don't worry. Oh, well, welcome back, Jane. Appreciate it. Yeah, he'll go gray. He's already kind of got gray in his fur, but that's just part of his natural um, coat. The Discord is pretty great, Jane. Honestly, it's like I almost worry about enjoying it too much, leaning on it too much, because it's become kind of like my go-to spot. At the end of the day, I just pop in there to like kind of vent about random topics and see what's going on with other people and just kind of like it's like a pseudo therapy session for me. And I'm like, is that healthy? Should I be using like my own Patreon channel as like a I mean, I guess it is. It's a community. That's kind of the idea. That was the original whole plan. So I worry sometimes about allowing myself too much uh, comfort from like virtual life because I'm conscious of the fact that my non-virtual life has shrunken a lot since I moved out here. In fact, I had this same thought Friday. I thought well, yesterday I was gonna like I thought about maybe going down into town and going to the local like coffee shop bar that has karaoke, like outdoor karaoke thing. Because I've thought, if I ever am going to meet anybody out here, I'm just gonna have to keep going to these like local events and until I become established presence and regular and but I keep not doing it because I'm just like oh I'm gonna drive 30-40 minutes to the little town with the one bar, go get a drink and sit by myself for an hour watching people do karaoke and like most likely not have any opportunities to talk to anybody. how many times I'm gonna have to go through that before anybody like opens the door to let me in. It's bleak. So then it's like here I am instead streaming instead of going into the actual town where I live and trying to meet people because this is just so much more accessible. I had a conversation, a little dialogue on someone else's YouTube video recently. A friend of mine posted a video about like virtual life and um, how it's not as substantial as real life and how people shouldn't use it as a substitute. And I felt very seen and also targeted. And I thought about it as I was watching this video, and I was like, I agree that it's not the same as real life. Like, I don't think that being in the Discord or something and having these little random chats with little icons, it's not as profound as being in a room with a person, like looking into their eyes and like talking and getting to know them as individuals. I would never claim that it's a replacement for that. But the reason that the virtual life is so seductive and so compelling now is just like the real world is a shit show now. It's like the whole social infrastructure has just gone to hell. And I feel like it's become so difficult to keep a real life social infrastructure healthy and thriving because of like some of the stuff I was talking about earlier, how it's just all about like people's careers and money and family and like stuff that has nothing to do with drawing threads across gaps. It's just like insular. People are doing their little pods. They wake up, they go to work, they come home, they do their family, and they don't have any energy left for anything else. And so it's just like there's no thriving like village anymore. At least anywhere that I've lived, like in America. I feel like it's different in other places. But like the sense of like a community, like a village, so to speak, of people being in a place where like you run into people, it's just easy, casual, like let's hang out. That kind of environment is like gone. I don't know where to find that anymore. In the places I lived where I briefly had that, it was so fragile. I had like a few moments where it's something like that was starting to go, and like we had like some recurring activities, some mutual hangout spots that like a group of people would meet up, and it was really beautiful for a moment. And then a bunch of people moved away. A bunch of people, got different jobs and had to stop coming, or they like got in a relationship or started a family or something and just dropped out, and then it was dead. It's over. And every time I've tried to create that, it dies. So it's like I don't. It's like it feels like pulling teeth. Like when I lived in Seattle, one of the very minor ways I used to try to create that was just by trying to get friends to get together to go see a movie. You know, traditional simple activity that everyone enjoys on some level. And every time I try to do this, new movies would come out that like were things that I knew my friends wanted to see. And so I'd start texting in a group text, like, "Hey, who wants to go see the new Avengers movie or whatever?" And it would just go on for days and days. Like, "Oh well, I'm free like 3 Tuesdays from now at 2:30 p.m." Um, and the other person were like, "Oh, I'm only free for the 20 minutes on the 2 weeks after that." And it was just like nobody has any time to do anything. And I got so sick of it, like trying over and over again to try to like make activities happen or to just get any excuse to get together. And I don't really understand why. I still to this day I don't know what's going on with that, like why it's just like dragging, kicking and screaming to get people who ostensibly like each other and enjoy their company to do activities that they ostensibly love. It's still like pulling teeth. And when you do that over and over again for years, eventually it's just like, fine, like forget it. Like, I'll move out into the wilderness and just learn how to be happy by myself because you guys aren't cutting it. You're not going to step up. You're not joining the party. So I guess I've got to make my own party, and that's kind of where I ended up. Well, that's really depressing. That's a hard to pronounce one. Revendenu. Uh, that's happening in Europe too, because in rural Europe, no less, because I always felt like rural Europe was kind of like the last bastion of human warmth. I always hear about, these quaint walkable cities where people have their, communal third spaces and communal events and all that kind of stuff is still going on. And I'm like, well, someday, I'll move to Sweden and be happy. But maybe that's all a dream too. Maybe it's across the world. Everything is just getting sucked into the corporate capitalist internet black hole that uh, destroys all human affection. So anyway, welcome to my live stream, and let's have some pizza and alcohol, right, guys? Woohoo! I am overdue for a top off. So, this time I'm going to try just a little dash of the cider. This is what I'm doing, by the way, for the newcomers. This is no longer margarita season. It is winter drinks like black walnut bitters. Comfort food, And a few drops of molasses bitters. And another bite of pizza. And now, look at that little hen brooding his eggs. Now I'm going to skim back through all your chats because I saw a bunch of interesting stuff that I missed. Whenever I go off on a rant like that, I completely stop watching the chat because I'm just in the flow state and I'm jumping from point to point. But then when I kind of like regain consciousness, I'm always curious, what people are saying along the way. If people are feeling me or not feeling me, perhaps some pushback here and there. Wow, there's a bunch I missed here. It's going to take me a second. So future tense is talking about going on a trip for 2 weeks to touch grass with old friends. Says it's different because I can't live my day to day with them. And that's another one of the issues that I have that I'm trying to figure out how to solve, because I always thought, um, you know, being out here, I thought, well, I'll go out and live in isolation, but then when I want to reconnect with my people, I'll just, travel back to them. And that sort of works. It's better than nothing, but I find that to be fairly bleak too, because it's like you can't. It always feels to me like sort of propping up a structure. It's like you have like a big circus tent, and it starts to decay and it starts to rot and mold, and then you're like, oh, I should probably go check on that tent. I haven't been out there in a while. I used to have a tent right here. This is what I'm thinking of. That was kind of my guest room when I first was out here, and I left it up all year, and it was a canvas tent. And, the winds and the rains out here, it's pretty brutal. And I would think like I need to get out there and like check on it, and, check the stakes, see if they're rusting and all that stuff. Just this maintenance. It's maintenance. And I feel that with the long distance friendships too. It's like, well, if we don't maintain it, eventually it will fall apart inevitably. And so like I'll make these trips out to reconnect with people, but it's like, so what have you been up to? And like, who are you? who have you become in the 3 months since I saw you last? And all this time to catch up. And with some people that works. My very closest friends, it doesn't feel too unnatural. But with a lot of people, it's just like, what is the point? Like, if this is how it's gonna be, there's not that much value here. Like we're just trying so hard to keep this alive, but it's like taking a plant out of its natural environment, taking a tropical plant to the North Pole and trying so hard to keep it warm and humid and watered and everything. And it's like it's not meant to be here. It's not. It's trying to die, and I'm not letting it die. And that's how a lot of these long distance friendships feel. It's just like where does this end? When do we have to stop fighting to keep it alive? So I've lately kind of reached the conclusion that that doesn't really work, and the only way that I can build that is to like make it happen here because I couldn't make it happen there. So I thought, maybe if I can pull off the village that I dream of creating out here, that would be enough, get 2 or 3 people to live out here and call it good. And that would be more than enough people in my life. Well, Claudia, um, you're not wrong. I mean, I am sad like deep down most days. I can still have a good time. I'm here eating pizza and drinking and chatting with you guys. This is not a sad moment for me, but when we talk about like the deep subjects, the things that are really, the core of the challenge of life right now, you might see some of the sadness emerge. So sorry about that. I appreciate that, Griff. And honestly, like this really does help this online community. I mean, like this whole YouTube channel. It's I do this for a lot of reasons. In some ways, it's for art reasons, like the same like I said in that video, similar to my paintings and why artists release their art instead of just making it. It's always an attempt to connect, but I feel like this channel and my Patreon also is kind of like that to the next level where it really does help to know that there are people that I'm talking to. I know you're all real people. I can't see you. I don't know what most of you look like or where you live or anything, but like I can see your words, I can see your contributions to this conversation, and I get like a little glimpse of a person from that. So it's not nothing. It is a morsel that I hold on to and take in as nourishment. And especially with the knowledge that these connections kind of are part of the larger fabric of connections that I'm trying to make with all the things that I do with the art, with writing books, things that I'm trying to, not that I'm, writing books to create a network or something, but it's just like, it's my way of being part of humanity. And this feels connected to that in a way that just like going to a bar and meeting random people doesn't. So there's some things about this that are more nourishing than real life encounter. Like I went to that party on the 4th of July. I told some of you guys about it. This big barbecue on the 4th of July, and I was like, I'm here to meet people. Let's like make friends. Like let's do this. And I just was overwhelmed by the pointlessness of it because like it was just nobody had any interest. They were all just talking to their little cliques, and I was like, I don't have any way to get in. There's no invitation, and it was just like, and also even if I do get in, like what is the point? Like these people have nothing, no connection to me. We have nothing in common. Totally different worlds that we live in, and like it feels like a dead end. Whereas with you guys, even though like you're not here, you're virtual people. Well, you're real people communicating virtually. uh, at least I know that there is some common ground here because you're talking to me because we've connected on some sort of ephemeral, creative level, whether it's through my actual books and art like that or just through my videos here. There's something about that that is deeper in a way than a lot of the real life relationships. Like a lot of my real life friends they don't give a shit about what I'm doing. I mean, like the vast majority of people who show up for my art, like these videos, which are very much about my life and my books and everything else, vast majority of those people are not people I know in real life. Like my actual family puts in kind of like a token effort to stay connected to the stuff I release. Although my brother still hasn't read my last Warm Bodies novel, as far as I know. But it's like those aren't the people that connect with you on a creative level for some reason. I've never quite figured out why that is. Because for me, I'm much more interested in my friends' art than I am in some celebrities' art. But for a lot of people, it seems like that's not the case. So, um, so yeah, like the random strangers that gravitate toward the stuff that I put out into the world, in some ways, they're on a deeper level. You're on a deeper level than my real life friends because like we're connecting on a different premise, a different context, and in some ways, it's deeper than the one that my real life friends do because a lot of the people I know in real life are just I guess they enjoy my company, but they don't know that much about me. They're not like asking me questions about my inner thoughts. Where here I am sharing them. So it's a weird little paradox, isn't it? Natasha loses friends because of what you're passionate about. Yeah, and I have to say, like Natasha says, wait, no, future tense says it's pretty common for artists. This used to bother me more than it does now. I used to like be genuinely hurt. Like, why do my friends not care about my art? Like, why are they not interested in what I do? Even like my girlfriends in the past, like really, they would sort of like tolerate my art. They were like, okay, you do your little thing and talk to your people or whatever, but like all I care about is this other world that we live in. And I always thought that was weird. It's like, how can you be really intimate with someone who and not care about their expression of self? And I still kind of feel that way, as you can tell. But I eventually sort of realized that there's a kind of a simple side to that. Like it's sort of it's not that deep bro element to it, which is just that by definition, anybody who is a fan of my work is filtered. They're being filtered out of the entire population of the world for people who happen to resonate with the kind of work that I do. And there's no guarantee that just because you're friends with someone or even if you're dating someone that their particular brand of art is going to be something that you really connect with. So I had to remind myself of that. It's like, well, it checks out, like, say someone's really into hip hop and they start dating someone who only listens to, EDM or whatever. Their preference in music is not a deal killer for them connecting on like a personal level or like a soul level or anything like that. But there's no expectation that someone's going to like the exact same thing. So if you are an artist, say you make EDM music and you meet this person who only likes hip hop, there's no reason to think they're going to like your music just because they like you. It's the people who are being filtered out of the entire population of the world that are the ones who are going to like your art because like that's why they're there. That's why we're talking. So that was a revelation to me as it was. Oh yeah, okay, that does make sense now that I think about it. Because a lot of the art that my friends make, I'm interested in it because they made it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm into it on an artistic level. Like, my friends release music and a lot of it's just like I'm not that into that kind of music. It's just that it doesn't speak to me. And but that has no effect on, how I feel about them. So, it makes sense, I guess. I still get to be a little salty about it. Yeah, I mean, I think you care about it, but caring about what someone does is different than actually liking it. And in some ways, I don't really like the feeling that I get from people who care about me in real life, sort of like humoring me is what it feels like sometimes. Like when you play a show and a local show, and like 80% of the crowd is just your friends and family. It's a bummer. It's like, okay, my friends and family showed up to support me, but they don't actually care about this music. They're just here because it's me. And there are times when I would feel like I almost wish they wouldn't come. I almost wish it was just like real fans only. Because then it's like, okay, even if there's only 10 of you, I know you're here for the right reasons. You're here because enjoy you actually connect with what I'm trying to do. So it's weird. It's complicated. Being an artist releasing public stuff, it creates a lot of weird dynamics like that are hard to unpack. Even as I'm experiencing them sometimes, I'm like, why do I feel that way about that? And you have to analyze it a bit. Yeah, Eva, I think it is healthy to have a little bit of, separation even with your romantic partner to be able to have your own mind and your own life is important. I think it might happen to be that you're both into the same stuff and it sort of merges that way, but I don't think you should have to. I can't personally imagine ever just like I think family or a romantic partner and like close friends. There's no way I could see myself just like not giving a shit about what any of those people make creatively. I would be pushing my face right up into it to find something that I can connect to, even if it's not really my thing. I'd be like, well, it's my brother, it's my mom, it's my girlfriend, whatever it may be. There's got to be something in there, even if it's like not something that I'm normally into. But that's still different from like a genuine fan who stumbles across your music and is like, "Oh my god, this speaks to me." That's what it's really about. That's the connection that I crave. I don't crave people straining to like what I do, which is why I don't really push my social circles to do anything to engage with any of my work, including this channel. I just kind of like put stuff out there, post it. I don't ask people to look at things. I hate it when people ask me that too, because it's just like, no, just let it happen. Like if it's gonna happen naturally, if we'll connect on that level, then we'll connect. But I try to be pretty relaxed about it so that things sift themselves out naturally. Natasha's just talking about a cool rock she found. I will check it out later when I can click on that. Also, a side note on this, I'm reading your comment here, future tense, about your friend, the singer songwriter. Don't understand how people don't get into her music. There's another side to it that I've noticed, which actually kind of annoys me. Like the other parts, I've made my peace with, like I explained. But there's a thing where like a lot of people are actually less interested in the art of people they know because they're only interested in it like for the mystique of the artist. They cannot find their buddy who plays at the bar on Friday. They can't find that artist mysterious and interesting because they know them. So it's like, well, there's no way, there's nothing compelling about like my buddy. There's nothing like romantic and things that I can, because I know them and they're just an idiot and whatever. So like they can't appreciate the art of people close to them because they're too close to them. Like they don't have that like remove that allows people to fantasize about like how cool that person must be. And I've seen that a lot with bands, like not mine necessarily, but just like people when your friend is in a band, the conversation about it with your friends, there's this kind of weird note of like subtle mockery, where it's just like, oh yeah, they're playing again. Um, there's none of that like, oh man, like have you heard their new album? It's just kind of like this feeling of you there's that saying, the prophet is never loved in his hometown or whatever. And I think that goes back, to ancient times where it's like you have to people can't get mystified by you if they are your friend or your family or they're already in your circle. It's like, Tom York's girlfriend or something probably is not that impressed by his music because he's just like, it's just Tom. He's some dude. Uh, but people on the outside are like, oh my God, Radiohead. Like what mysterious thoughts did they have when they wrote this song? But like the people who were in the room with them are just like, these guys are just some guys. So it's that weird phenomenon. I guess I understand it, but I also think it's kind of stupid that people um, have to think about artists as like mythical figures in order to enjoy the work. It's like the art is the art. Do you like their music or not? But that's the culture, It's as much about the person, the personality, the character behind the work as it is the work itself. So if your persona is not uh, compelling, then people don't care about the work you do, which is the huge bummer in many of these industries, especially writing, because you don't really get a lot of opportunity to be an interesting writer. If you're like a stage performer, like a musician, you can, wear cool clothes and be dynamic on stage and sort of force it to happen. But with writing, it's like if you're just a guy, you don't have like a dramatic backstory. You're not, from a war zone or something. You don't have any tragic history or identity. And it's just like, well, I write the story. Do you like it? It's not. You don't have much to work with. So yeah, not to get too autobiographical there. That sucks, Natasha. Um, I don't. It's hard for me to picture how that would happen. Like, was your art really, really confessional or something? Like, showed people a side of you that scared them? That's something I always kind of think about a little. Is how confessional you get with the work. I know a lot of writers in particular often are scared by the idea of like revealing their true selves, especially to friends and family, and they kind of hold back, try not to be as raw as they want to because they don't want to reveal the truth about who they are. And maybe that's wise. I don't know. I've never really I felt that, but I've never given into it. I've had moments where I've written things. And I'm like, man, I really don't like the idea of my parents reading this, but I'm not gonna hold back for their sake because I'm an individual. I have to go out into the world and live my own life. So I always kind of put it out there anyway. But I don't know. I think I thought about that more as I started to think about writing like more challenging stuff. Like my new book, The Overnoise, is the it's a little bit confrontational. Like the main character is not super likable. Um, she does a lot of things that some people will perceive negatively, and some people will also read into my motivations for writing those things and think like, oh, this guy thinks this, and he's a bad person because of this statement that he made about this thing that's happening in society, and like a lot of stuff that is kind of pushing the edge a little of the safe zone. And I've thought about that a little, like, well, this is going to be interesting when I release this. There will definitely be a portion of people who change their mind about me and don't like me anymore. And I hope it's not a big portion, but I know that there are people who have like really extreme opinions who are not going to like some of the ideas expressed in this book. So I have to think about that. Like, well, it is what it is. I can't hide if the point of the book is to have a to express something, to share something real. I'm not going to be like, well, that's not going to test well with the test audiences, so I'm going to withdraw that part. And I guess I've always just sort of felt kind of like reckless that way with everything I make. I'm just like, well, chips fall where they may. And um, it's more so, I guess, about the audience than it is about my family. I think my family would always understand. Most of my friends would too. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm sorry that bad shit happened to you because of that. I guess who knows? It's hard to know what the context of that is, and what your stuff was about and what their reaction were. No time to delve deeply into that. But I generally do support the idea of going for it. I respect that, even if there's consequences sometimes. So props for that. If you see my thumb here, I'm skimming, seeing what I missed in the chat. Oh, oh, oh! North Korea's back. All right, cat respecter. This is the strangest, most fascinating thing. I'm gonna hit the heart there. Wait, hey, it went away. The year of Juchi starts from 1912, the birth year of Kim Il Sung, making 2024 the year Juchi 113. Okay, I believe you. I'm still very confused about this North Korea bot. Um, Cat Respecter, fascinating thing. Every time I've streamed, except the first time, from the second time onward, they have popped in and donated these 4.99 little whatever they super chats or whatever they're called, and usually there's two of them. So I'm waiting for your next one, Cat Respecter, because I'm expecting at least two. Make the stream worth my while. They pop in and just sort of drop these little random factoids about North Korea. They're not like that one. It wasn't even particularly propaganda-ish. It was just sort of like interesting facts about North Korea. And I always ask this person to explain, like, what's your deal? Who are you? Like, do you work for their government? Like, what's the story here? And they never ever respond. They never say anything related to anything that I'm saying. They just pop in, drop these little comments, and leave. So, except the very first time, actually, now that I think about it, they mentioned something about being here from my cat video, um, which is super odd because that means that there is a real person behind it. Since that one time, they've never once made a real comment. but they pop in and they drop these little 4.99 nuggets of information, and I can't get anything more out of them. And I think it's so interesting. Like, is the government just uh do they just have a ton, like, are they all bots? In which case, I mean, I guess that makes sense. If you just, it's a pretty easy, affordable way to spread propaganda for 4.99. You post on a channel with decent amount of subscribers and just figure what the hell, spray far and wide. But yeah, it's like I'm cool with it. It's the only, like, the most significant income I get on this channel is these donations from North Korea. So keep it coming. Like I said last time, I try to keep an open mind about this stuff. I Everything I know about North Korea is just fed to me by American media. So for all I know, it's all lies. They could be a beautiful utopia for all I know, because everything I learn is censored and you know controlled. So I keep an open mind about everything these days. Um, I'm very conscious of the fact that, like, all of our media platforms are tightly regimented by the powers that be. There's all kinds of censorship going on. There's all kinds of, like, misinformation being tagged, which is like the book that I'm reading right now. I want to show you this. This book uh, was sent to me. This is an ARC, an advanced reader copy. It's backwards on the mirror, but it's For Emma is the title if it weren't reversed. And it's about a guy who, his daughter works for, like, a big tech company, and then something happens that gets her killed, and he starts to find out about, like, all of the shady human experiments and stuff that this company was doing, involving, like, AI and neural implants and stuff. And it's, like, very plausible stuff that's, like, kind of happening right now. Like, there's the Neuralink thing going on as we speak, and but like, so he tries to uh, you know call the whistleblowers and everything about this information that he finds about all their shady dealings, and it's chillingly realistic in the way that, like, yeah, if you discover something about Google, for example, you discover, like, that Google is doing criminal activity behind the scenes, where are you going to share it? You know, like, on your Gmail account, they would have, like, everything you're doing is being monitored by these very platforms. So if you have a problem with those platforms, uh, it's completely effortless for them to silence you. And now that it's so normalized to, like, stop people from talking about any sort of fringe ideas that they consider misinformation, now it's just like there's an instant flag. You say anything on Instagram, any of these platforms that platform disagrees with, and they just make it disappear, saying that, oh, this is spreading misinformation. And that's really disturbing to me to see how accepted that's become by, like, progressives. Like, the progressive party line is that that's good to limit people's speech online. And I'm like, do you not see where this goes? Like, you want these mega corporations to have the final say on what is real information versus misinformation? Like, do you not see a problem here? Because, like, I sure do. So yeah, this book is, like, one of the most disturbing books I've ever read because of just, like, how plausible it is, and it sort of shows it's like a little bit in the future. The tech is a little more advanced, a little more ingrained and invasive, but it's like the way that everything is being monitored. Every digital communication has to go through is filtered through these companies, and it'd be completely effortless for them to stop bad information that they don't want to come out from coming out, because, like, they don't even have to manually check it. They just have a filter that automatically flags something as harmful information, and it's gone, shadow banned, you know. And it's like it's weird to me that more people aren't talking about that, because it's like if they aren't doing it already, they absolutely can anytime they want to, and there's no regulations to stop them. It's just like completely free for the only source of sharing information right now to just change that information as they see fit. Google, I mean, Google and Meta basically are like the platforms that control all the information. And they're public companies. I mean, private companies. And there's no regulations whatsoever about what they can do with people's communications. I mean, as far as like choosing to make them invisible or not. So that's wild to me. I think it's bizarre that honestly, I'm surprised they haven't abused it more yet, because it's just like there's nothing stopping them from abusing it. I actually researched this pretty thoroughly, and like there are current, at least in the U.S., there's no laws that would restrict Google from doing anything they want with their search results. They can prevent you from finding information. They can block you from posting things. They can. It's their server. They can do whatever they want with it, and there's no regulation for that whatsoever. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, like I felt a chill, you know, reading this book and seeing these things go down, where like this guy is, you know, trying to reach out in every direction possible, trying to get anybody to look at this information, and it's just like automatic flags. Everything's being shut down. There's no review. You can't get a hold of anybody. There's just, and I've seen this happen over and over with my own stuff, not for like censorship reasons, but just the fact that you cannot communicate with anybody about your information online. It's just like if it gets flagged for whatever reason, a copyright strike or something, they can just ignore you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's like, yeah, that is the world we're gleefully skipping into without any thought for what it means. I don't know what this two astronauts stuck in space thing is about. That's news to me, but I'll just go ahead and leave that alone. So Knock Chilton says hi from England. The author in question here, Ewan Morrison, is Scottish. You may have heard of him. He well, I guess I shouldn't talk too much about the how we got connected, because I don't know how much of that is public for him, but we have some common threads in the industry that brought us together. Probably because somebody read the Overnoise and read this and like, oh, you guys should talk. So goodbye, Jane. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for renewing your pledge. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the Discord. Man, what is wrong with Boeing these days? Is this company just completely collapsing? Their their planes are falling apart. They're assassinating whistleblowers left and right, and everyone knows it, but no one does anything about it. And now their spaceships are crashing. Good lord. Why are all the companies based in Washington just the worst? I mean, like, we have Boeing, Amazon. Those two are the worst. Microsoft, I don't really know how much of that is real. The Bill Gates conspiracies and all that stuff. So I don't have much to say about them. But like, two of the shittiest major corps in the same state. Weird. Cindy, what happened with your friend? How did they get deleted? Did they post something like really controversial, or was it just a mystery? While I wait for that, I'm going to get another piece of pizza. Just getting a little cold. In fact, I think it's time for another trip outside because it's gotten really beautiful out there. Are you guys ready for this? And there's my poop bucket. Ruining the view. That's clouds, Claudia. Got our first rainy day today. The clouds come right up to the edge of the cliff here. And they crash against the cliff like waves. And then they shoot up into the air and curl back on themselves and dissolve. It's amazing. Things have cleared up a little bit though. Got a beautiful sunset brewing. I love watching these scraps of clouds over the hills in this direction. The hills are so raw and rugged out that way. I hear kind of a distant rumble of thunder. It's pretty cold out here though. I'm going back in. Bobo. What's going on, buddy? Where are you headed? Time for one more refill. I think the amount of vodka I had left is actually just perfect. Maybe even a little too much, honestly. Maybe I'll try this one without the cider. Just go straight bitters. Gotta be careful with that. More like a martini, although even martinis have a vermouth. really a straight vodka person usually, but that's very vodka-y. Let's try a bit more. It'd be better if it was chilled, honestly. It's a bit of warm vodka is not a great experience. Yeah, everybody forgets about the poop bucket. That was when I first started this channel. That was kind of my most popular topic. Endless hilarity talking about my poop bucket. Now I live in luxury with a proper outhouse. It has stopped raining, Cheryl. It's just wet and cloudy out. Bob needs more cuddles. Can you guys hear his purr? Please tell me you can hear that. He's gonna get so cuddly for the winter. He's not just for warmth. People are always like, "Oh, cats only cuddle with you because they want to get warm." Because he will do it even in the heat of summer, but he definitely escalates things a bit in the winter. Make a lap, exactly. He wants the correct shape for maximum nesting. Here you go, jelly roll. Look how huge he is. My God. So yeah, that's too bad. The mic is not strong enough to pick up his rumble, I guess. I need to get it right in front of his mouth. I'm curious. I mean, there's not a lot of people in this chat, but as I'm reading this book, I really started to wonder, like, who exactly thinks it's a good idea to have corporations censor people. I'm very puzzled by this because I feel like it is sort of the standard agreed upon idea that all these social media platforms should be moderated by the company and that any harmful ideas should be muted. And I find it just very odd. I'm like, what? Because I mean, I feel like have lived most of my life within sort of the liberal establishment. I was in that crew for a long time anyway. I don't know where I am now, and I find it so odd that like that just seems so at odds with most of the values that I understood that to be about. Like, why would you want Mark Zuckerberg deciding what information is real or not? Why would you want, Elon Musk determining what constitutes hate speech? Like, why since when do we want, the powers that be making that call as to what is acceptable to say or not? I think that's really weird. Like, to me, that's just such an obvious slippery slope. Like, why would you want them involved in that at all? Like, let people shun each other. If you say things that the human population doesn't like, they can shut you down themselves by just abandoning you and leaving you shouting into the void alone. It should be self-regulating. So I don't know. I feel like it should work itself out and not be worked out by the corporation. But the way that it is now, everybody seems to be clamoring for like more censorship. We need Facebook to stop the trolls. We need Twitter to delete the Nazis accounts. All this stuff, or like somebody says something inaccurate about COVID or something. We need their accounts deleted. I get where like the desire, but how do you not see where this leads to? It's just like they're not even asking the government to regulate it. It's just like no, Mark Zuckerberg can decide what's true information. What? Why? How is that progressive? Weird, man. I, I've yet to have a conversation about this with anybody in real life, but I feel like it's sort of this unquestioned standard that people think like, oh yeah, we need to control hate speech, we need to control misinformation, and like, who needs to control it? Who's defining it? I don't. How do you see this working? I don't get it. Oh yeah, Gail, YouTube is doing it super hard right now. I mean, YouTube does a lot of censoring for advertising reasons. You have to be advertiser friendly, which that like I understand why they might have to do that as a business. But as far as like I don't know, the other stuff that's more just sociological, it's hard to understand a case in favor of that. Yeah, Holly, I mean, you can't count on people self-regulating, but like I feel like that's just the way it is. Like we are a human species. We have a culture that takes its form from the collective opinion. Whatever we all kind of like decide, it just sort of it sorts itself out one way or another. And who is to put themselves in the position of dictating the direction that goes? I feel like it's just all the information should be out there, and if a lot of people are stupid, then we're stupid. That's the reality, you know? Like if the collective of humanity makes the wrong choice about some information, then that's who we are. Sorry, but it is. We don't need like a big brother to guide us away from those things. Like, no, let us be idiots if we're idiots. I would like to believe that the majority of people would eventually sift through the misinformation and make the right choices. But if they don't, like, that's the way it is. That's who we are. So like we have to take the consequences of being dumbasses. And it's just like anything else but that inevitably just puts all the power into corporate interest, and I'm like, that can't be better. I mean, that's true, Holly, but like that's just the nature of living on this planet in a collective society. I mean, you can't change the fundamental aspect of Like there's a big mass of people on the planet, and like we do things as a mob, and sometimes they harm people, but like you can't avoid that. Like it happens no matter what you do. It happens with voting, with everything we do. We do things as a collective, and if the collective chooses paths that are harmful to some people, like that sucks. But like, whose job is it to stop them? They are us. They are the collective. So like, that is humanity. I just don't know how you can like try to engineer your way out of that. Like two or three people at the top of some corporation are going to decide, well, actually, this is the correct opinion, which harms the least amount of people. And so we are going to create a structure that forces the other 99% of humanity to believe the way that we do, for their own good. Like that's not liberal. That's just crazy. It's I get that it like there's interests on both sides that are complicated and challenging, but I feel like that principle is pretty flawed, because it's just like there is no authority. There's no God who hero king in this world who will always make the righteous choice. Um, it's we're just a big amorphous blob of minds. We're a giant amoeba, a giant ant hill, and like whatever we do is that is us. I feel like it's as simple as that. Trying to deny that or trying to tech our way out of that is just stupid, because then like who is us if not us? Yes, please ask a question, Griff. Wow, that is very vodka heavy. Whew, potent. Engine cleaner kind of cocktail. I'm just patiently waiting for Griff's question. It sounds like a good one based on that setup. P.S. Bob is fully nested now. This is his natural position, just a fetus. I get a slight reaction when I stick my hand in it. A little chirp, a little resumption of purr. Okay, here's Griff's question. Do you think that fully autonomous robots will happen in our lifetime, like a robot you can tell to take the car into town and get shopping? Well, our lifetime, I guess, kind of depends on how old you are. Because I am 42, I will presumably be here at least another 40 years. So I think it'll definitely be in my lifetime. Absolutely. I mean, wait, let me see that again. What was your specifications? Robot you can tell to take the car into town and get shopping. I mean, we're almost there now. The cars can go there by themselves already. Uh, a robot actually doing the shopping. I mean, those Boston Dynamics robots can do pretty much anything a human body can do. Uh, I think, let's see, like there's those Amazon stores that have all the groceries like automated where they don't need a human to check them out. So it's not much of a leap from that to have something also do the grabbing of the things alone. It's mechanically speaking, it's a little more of like I think those Boston Dynamics robots probably cost millions of dollars each. So I think it's a long way off before those are practical, consumer level. But the tech to do it already exists. I mean, you could have If you took one of those Boston Dynamics robots and programmed it with like simple, object recognition kind of software, I'm pretty sure you could do that right now. Just have one say like go to Safeway and buy some hamburger. It would probably do that. Granted, maybe it would like kill someone and chop them up into hamburger. Found the most effective and cost effective route to achieve hamburger in the least amount of time. Grind up biological protein source and deliver. So there's always that scenario. But you asked if it would be possible, not if it would be advisable. Oh, I don't think 40 years, Karma. I'd say 10 years at most, personally. I mean, it's already completely possible. I mean, for an example, um, you could go to an AI, Mid-Journey AI prompt right now and type in grocery store with hamburger on aisle 12, organic grass-fed beef um, on the third shelf, and it will generate a photorealistic image of that exact thing. So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be a huge leap to reverse that process and be able to tell an AI, go to this store and locate the image of ground beef. And it would just walk down the aisle until it detects. I mean, they can totally identify objects. Just now, today, for the thumbnail image for my YouTube channel trailer, um, I used AI for the first time today. I'm like very resistant to all of the like AI art thing. I'm not gonna participate in that. I have a lot of complicated objections to it, and there are some exceptions that I might make based on specific usages. But I find that it's better for me as an artist to just stay out of it entirely, like kind of make a principled stand against it because of just the ways that it's harming the things that I love in so many ways. But there's kind of this like gray area when it comes to Photoshop where they have this stuff called like generative fill or content aware fill and scaling. And it's a little unclear how that works, at least to me. It's not the same as like, where you type in recreate, a fantasy movie from the 80s and it copies images of existing movies and actual actors and puts them in there. But with Photoshop, like, so for example, today I had an image of me and Bob where I needed it to be like a little bit wider to the left, and it just didn't quite fit the ratio of that thumbnail. So there's a gap, and I used the generative fill on this gap, and it just like flawlessly filled in the blue sky in the background, the grass below that Bob was walking on. It just sort of extended the grass like a couple inches to the left, and I can't tell where the AI ends and where the original image begins. It's like completely seamless. And I watched that happen. I was like, oh my god, like okay, that is really tempting because that is so unbelievably useful. If I can take any image that I have and recompose it, extend the landscape out to the left, push my face over here where I want it to be, and have it sort of fill in the gaps using AI to like extend the mountains and add more sky and just whatever I need to do. That opens so many possibilities creatively. It makes things so much easier. And like, wow, that is really seductive. And wait, why am I talking about this? What did you ask me about? uh, I really lost my train of thought there, but that was okay. Yeah, that was a great example of like how even a really simple AI, like built a Photoshop plugin, can look at my image and be like, "Oh, that's grass and that's clouds." So we just do more of that over here. It already can recognize images flawlessly already. So as far as grocery shopping, I think it would be completely a no-brainer for it. I think it's more the physical mechanical challenges of it to like have a robot that can navigate a grocery store and like find the grocery and pick it up and put it in a bag. That it exists already. It's just very advanced and expensive. So it's not really, consumer grade yet. I don't know why you're asking me about this. Not like I'm a tech expert, even though I have drawers upon drawers of tech. By the way, I got to show you guys this. This was my crowning achievement in my effort to consolidate my desktop. I have all this bullshit going on. Most of this is about my video operations because the damn iMac only has 2 USB-C ports, and I have all of my video stuff is operated off of SSD drives. So I have this whole drive is for all of my video and also my photo library, and then I have another SSD for my Time Machine backups, and then I have this giant brick, which is a old school hard drive that somebody donated to me a long time ago, which is like my backup for stuff I don't use anymore. And then I have my audio interface and keyboard, splitter, especially as I tried to expand into this other PC here. I just have a lot of shit going on. So I have a USB-C hub here, which gives me 3 more USB-C ports. I got an Ethernet splitter so that I can connect to both computers, Ethernet. And it's just a huge mess. And all these cords, these little drives are so lightweight. They just flip-flop all over the place when you have them, on those stiff cords. So I was like, I got to get this under control. This is all the chargers that I have. Believe it or not, every one of these is needed for something. I've got, I think, here's my headphone interface for my recording setup so that I can record music from all the way over there without dragging a cord across the room. And these 2 are for my wireless mics. These things. Which one restore? These guys. My little plugins. I have to use these for any video I make where I walk around, away from the camera. So that's 2 chargers right there. It's for these guys. Then I've got headphone charger. I don't know what this one is. Oh yeah, this is for my time lapse thing. This guy. My rotating egg timer time lapse deal, which is what I use to get those moving time lapses. That also has to be charged. And then I got my phone charger on the red cord here. So much shit going on. And so this actually made me really delighted because I just electrical taped around the whole wad of it. And now it's all contained on this brick and it doesn't move. It stays where I put it. The cords don't send it flying all over the place. It's pure bliss. And yes, it does kind of look like a bomb. I thought of that too. Especially because this book that I'm reading the whole book is about this guy trying to make a bomb to assassinate the guy who is behind all this tech conspiracy. And as I'm reading that book, I was building this thing and I was like, man, that really looks like it's going to explode, doesn't it? But yeah, I did okay with the sorting. Uh, I'm very happy with how clean it's getting over here. This used to be a total mess. Like I said earlier, I have a lot of the cords are stuck inside that box, which is really nice. It keeps my floor clean. So, except for this cord, which is always getting underneath my chair somehow. There's just nothing I can do about that because it's long. But yeah, I've got everything like on hooks. I got my duster here. I got my music recording cables on another hook. My chargers are all like flush with the wall on like these beautiful right angle things, so it keeps it. This is actually, I don't know what that's doing there. The heater's too close. In reality, when this is on, it's gonna have to be more like here, which I'm still trying to figure out. Because in order to make both these computers work, I have to be able to go all the way up against this table leg, and it's really cramped over here when I do that. I'm right next to the heater. It's it's just there's just no space in here. It's really driving me crazy. But what matters much more than my tech challenges is whatever the latest propaganda from North Korea is. So let's see what we've got. Kim rules the DPRK, but who rules the US? The public can elect a new puppet every 4 years, but cannot choose which unelected oligarchs buy/blackmail him. Damn. You know what? You got a point there, buddy. No argument there. Wow. I guess you could make the argument that North Korea is the same as the US. They're just upfront about it. They don't pretend that there's democracy, whereas we like to pretend. Sobering thought, cat respecter. I wonder how different that really is. Like, there are still some checks and balances in the U.S., but it's unclear how real they are. What the hell is Bob doing right now? Bob is tripping out. What's going on? He was bobbing up and down. What do you see, buddy? What you got? Oh, he found the toy. I forgot to mention, I uh, I busted out the bird today because it was rainy and cold, and Bob was stuck indoors all day, and he was whining. So I took necessary steps. This is great distraction from having to think about the oligarchy we live in and comparing it to North Korea. Instead of that, why don't we think about cats play with funny toy? Funny cat, haha. Cat smacked the bird. Cat stupid. Cat get bird. Cat get bird and kill. All is well. Yeah, we don't have to think about anything else. Only Bob think. What was that other topic we were talking about? I don't remember. I have no idea. Something about respecting cats. That's all I remember. Oh man. The duality indeed. Well, see, I wonder if there's a pattern to these donations. Like, I want to see if there's a timing here. Like, do they happen every 20 minutes? Let's see. It doesn't show me a time, does it? Damn, it doesn't. Well, I can't compare it then. There's no timestamp. But it kind of makes me wonder if like ever if I wait around enough? Is it just a recurring donation? I just keep getting $5, $5. I've made $10 tonight, which is the pizza cost me $6 at grocery outlet. I've used about a eighth, maybe a fifth of this vodka, which cost me about $20. So yeah, pretty much North Korea paid for my weekend. So I don't know what the proper salute is for our dear leader, but much appreciated. I'm honestly, I'm just genuinely interested in what they say now, because it's like I've never been preached to by North Korea before, and I'm like genuinely curious what their arguments are. This recent one was like pretty deep stuff. It's intriguing. Though I also wonder what what is their goal? Like, how does North Korea benefit from Western YouTubers liking them? I mean, they're completely self-contained, right? Like, they don't participate in our economy. They don't need anything from us. There's no trade from the U.S. to North Korea. It's like, what? Why do they even care what we think of them? It's a strange thought. I can't imagine what the desired outcome would be. You know, say they do these propagandas, and we all decide like, hey, North Korea is great. They're not so bad. Um, then what? Like, how do they benefit from that? Oh, I see interesting comments here. Um, hey, Revenue, uh, regarding donations. I do have a PayPal account, but I mean the difference is I don't. There's PayPal. I think it's like PayPal.me/Isaac Marion or something like that, where you can send money directly. But honestly, I mean, it's a small percentage that YouTube takes. I would, if anybody ever wants to give me anything, I would just say like whatever is convenient for you. Like people are really nice about this. They'll ask me like where should I buy your book where it'll help you the most and stuff. And the reality is there used to be a difference when I was selling the books off my website. Those books were really profitable for me. But outside of that, which I'm not doing anymore, it's pretty much all the same. I mean, like, hardcovers are much more profitable than any kind of paperback or ebook. But other than that, it's like it's just it's pennies difference. So I always just say whatever is most convenient for you. If anybody ever wants to send me a tip or anything, I also have like a Ko-fi and of course Patreon, which you can also drop individual tips without joining on Patreon. It's just not really an advertised feature. But yeah, anybody ever wants to like shoot me a tip, really it's whatever pops up quickest for you, whatever's most convenient. I much appreciate it. Even when it comes with North Korean propaganda. In fact, if anybody donates, you have absolutely permission to promote whatever cause you see fit in your super comment. I always wonder, I'll get once in a while, I'll get one on my long form videos that just say like, thanks. I got one that was like $25, and this person just said thanks. And I was like, what? What? Why would? Why would they do that? That doesn't even sound like a real comment. But yeah, like promote your music, like promote whatever you're doing. I don't care. Uh, Use the platform. 25%? Really? Well, shit. That's not what it says to me. It says, well, I guess it just tells me the gross amount. Yeah, I think probably the best way would be Patreon. Um, you can send any amount on Patreon without actually signing up for a recurring thing. I think. I don't know. I need like a more simple tip jar kind of thing. Wait. Did you guys are saying Cat Respecter said something real? I'm not seeing this comment. I saw a while ago you all said like he speaks, but I don't see anything after the donation. Donation. Did they delete the comment? Wait, what? Yeah, I see it around 7:07. Uh, it sounded like somebody said something, and but I don't see the actual comment. Yeah, I'm not sure with the donations thing. Um, it all just goes into my pool of income for that month, which is combined with what I get from the actual videos. So it doesn't. I don't actually find out how much of that I actually get until they send it to my bank account, which I usually don't even really look into because it's a tiny amount. So it's like it's just like it's a bonus little tip. Wait, wait, North Korea guy commented about Epstein? Where? Okay, yeah, I don't see it. I only see your comments to it. You got me all excited there for a second. Hmm. Something's going on outside. I gotta show you. Well, they're not showing it to me for some reason, so you need to tell me. I need to know every single word that comes out of Cat Respecter's mouth. Wouldn't that be hilarious if, after all the conversation we've had tonight about censorship, and now somebody from North Korea is trying to tell me the truth, and YouTube is blocking it? I mean, like, case in point. Here you go. Oh, what's this? Okay. Well, Ashley Belfast, I thought you were the North Korean plant again because it's the same amount of donation. But she says everything is over my head. Plumbing, electric, book, North Korea. I'm just here for the crack. Uh, I wish I could help you out with the crack. I don't really have a source for that. Um, Unless you mean the pizza, which is kind of a form of crack, I suppose. But thank you. Appreciate it. Maybe you meant cat? I don't know. I don't have top comments. I'm seeing the chat. I think. I don't know if there are other options here. I never really looked at these before. No, I don't really have any settings. Okay, so someone's sharing on Discord. This is a good opportunity to introduce you guys to the Discord. So here we go. Here's the Discord. I've got all these channels. I've got a channel for the YouTube channel. And Christina, future tense, has posted the deleted comment from North Korea, which is oh, yeah, I think you're confusing Cheryl's reply to the comment, right? Because we all saw this one. And then Cheryl F replied to it, and that made the green circle pop up again because it's a super chat. Oh, there's more? Okay. You got a clip of the poop bucket? Okay. That's cool. North Korea is great. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, look at that. Cat Respector's only non sponsored comment. Who was Epstein working for? After they confiscated so many boxes of crimes on video, there were no arrests. Okay, that's weird. Like, what? Okay, sure. But what's that have to do with North Korea? I'm only here for the North Korea lore. I don't see how the Epstein situation plays into this at all. Wait, is there another one? No, okay. Wait, okay. There's two screenshots here, but you're showing the same comment from Cat Respector. No, oh, here we go. Another Epstein comment. Who was Epstein working for despite seizing countless videos of illegal acts? No significant arrests followed. So two comments of kind of saying the same thing. Why that man, this is confusing. Like why does North Korea care about that? What are they trying to tell us? Is this a code? Bob, help us. Help us solve this mystery. Bob knows. Look at that look. Bob knows all the secrets. That's the face of a man who has been notified and isn't talking. Roller coaster indeed. Let's take a breather and enjoy that. Not bad, right? I have not started Bob's shit shack. He has not. He has stopped shitting on the under the picnic table, so I've kind of deprioritized it a little bit. That you thought the birds were music? They sound like it sometimes. I'm trying to balance this with the view with me talking with Bob. The view has been off and on tonight, so how about a little extra Bob? Little Bob playtime. Look at that beefy arm. Yes, I did build an outhouse, Cheryl. If you want more information about that epic process, I have an entire video about it. I think it's the third one on my channel. Episode 3, if you will. And it was quite a journey. I will take you on a walk through the trails sometime. It's a little difficult because when I get out of the Wi-Fi range, my streaming quality drops rapidly, and it becomes kind of it usually dies pretty quickly. So I can't go very far with any kind of predictable results. But I might try it once in a while just to like see what happens, see how far I can get. Um, oh, okay. That explains the crack, Ashley. I've heard things being like cracking good, but yeah. Well, in that case, I appreciate it. I will spare you all any further political intrigue, any further censorship talk. And I think I will wrap it up. I've had my fill of all the indulgences. I'm probably going to eat at least one more, maybe two more of this. So I've gotten out of my habit of polishing off an entire frozen pizza by myself. Progress. I'm going to pour a little more apple cider without more alcohol and enjoy that. Going to log off and stop yapping. Getting tired of hearing myself speak. So, sorry for teasing you guys with the pizza, except I'm going to give you one more luxurious shot of it. Just for further torment. And with that note, I'm going to log off. So thanks for chatting, you guys. This is always, honestly, a highlight of my week. I wait all through the weekdays thinking like, oh, I can't wait till Saturday when I get to an excuse to have a drink and bullshit with a bunch of people, and also kind of like explore the mysteries of international intrigue and communism and stuff. So that's becoming more interesting every time. Bob says goodbye. Say goodbye, Bob. Good night, everybody. Have a good weekend.